So we all have heard that money can't buy happiness, but can it really? We've all had that question come through our mind at one point in our lives. Well, today, I hope that with the information I give you, you can come to a conclusion and you'll be able to answer that question yourself. I would like to start off by talking about how the media influences us and helps us better. The media helps us, the media influences us to believe that money can buy us happiness. Then I would like to talk about relationships, mostly marriages, and how their income affects their marriage. And lastly, I would like to talk about those lucky winners that win the lottery and how happy they are because of it. Let me start off by saying that the media likes to influence a lot of individuals. In 2009, Coca-Cola had a campaign called Open Happiness. Their campaign stated that if you bought a Coca-Cola, it would bring you happiness. So why do you have to spend money for a bottle of Coke that is going to give you happiness? Also, I saw an episode on Taboo that there is a man, he was addicted to shopping. He came into some money after his grandfather died, and all that money he spent was shopping for watches. Every time he would go to the mall, he would buy a new watch. He said that he would buy the watch and it would make him feel so happy, but a few hours later, he would put it away because he didn't have the thrill anymore. There was no, I would guess, happiness or satisfaction with the item anymore. Let me move on to marriages. Both low and high income marriages state that the romantic standards are the same according to the studies done by the Journal of Marriage and Family. Research shows that low-income families have a less chance of getting married and a higher divorce rate, but they both state that they have the same standards as a high income. Why is that? Low income states that their income or their living standards are negatively affected by their income. I know that I'm not in the low income nor high income, right about the middle, and every time I hear my parents argue, it's always about money. My mom loves to shop. She is a smart shopper though. She shops at JCPenney's when there's sales. She always has to get those 30% discounts in the coupon. And my dad's always arguing, well not arguing, but it's like, why are you always shopping? Why are you spending money on things we don't need? It doesn't make us happy. But it's always the case. Every time I hear him talking about money issue, it's always an argument and it's no good. I know to stay away from them, especially my mom. She gets a little catty sometimes. And lastly, those lucky few that win the lottery. A research done by the New York Times states that there's 3 types of people that win the lottery. Ones that spend it, ones that give it away to charity, and the other ones that save it. Most of us, raise your hand if you would spend it, the money, right? Well, it states that if you save your money or you give it away, you get a bigger bang for your buck. So you get more satisfaction of giving it than receiving it. NBC News also states that the lottery trustees or babies or family members, for instance, let's say someone wins the lottery and they pass away and their money goes towards their family members. Those family members do not get as much satisfaction because they didn't earn the money. It states that They did an experiment with two groups. One group was supposed to earn the money, and the other one, they just did a little computer simulation where they would push buttons and then they would receive money. And it showed that the brain had more stimulation and more satisfaction when working hard for the money. In conclusion, I hope that with the information I've given you today, with the lottery winners, the marriage, and also the media, you're able to come to a conclusion if money can buy you happiness or not.
She's fine. She's just a shoe. Huh? She's wears shoes.
It's at the desk.
She's the one planning. Would you want to do it soon? Closer to the holidays? Yeah, it's from like... How did I know you were doing that? No, but like, it's the 16th. We don't start school like February. Yeah. It's a little different. Yeah.
All right, Yesenia, the quote's okay as an attention device. I think your purpose statement needs to be a little bit clearer, and at the end it's really kind of a question still. So you're not really taking a very clear point of view on this. It almost sounds like I said to be persuasive rather than informative, but I thought that there were a few interesting things in the presentation. There needed to be a little bit of follow-up information on a couple of the points. You had some good examples. For instance, the material about the one guy when he came into the money buying all the watches. That's an interesting story. I think you could use some follow-up. Are other people also dissatisfied with spending? Does shopping not produce the euphoria, or does the euphoria not last as long when people are making an arbitrary purchase like that, as opposed to something that they need or something that they had a goal for? You did a little bit of research here and there on the lottery winners, and I thought that that was kind of interesting in that last section. You classified them into different categories, and again, I think that there needed to be a little bit more statistical information that talked about how people fit into these categories, and what the research consisted of. It was evaluating these folks, and but you had the right idea there. The factors of the presentation, you've got some nervous leg movement that you're doing, especially at the beginning of the speech. You're crossing and uncrossing your legs. You look uncomfortable. Your gestures, you kind of go to this stacking thing that you do whenever you are a little uncertain about what's going up. You're stacking your cards up again like you're packing a pack of cigarettes, pounding it against your hands to get the tobacco to all stick together a little bit more. And so that looks a little awkward. Your eye contact's not very consistent. You look at me pretty regularly, but not everybody else. And even though you do look in this direction regularly, it's not consistent because there's a lot more note looking and reading than you really want to have at that particular point. I think your voice works pretty well. Maybe you could use a little bit more volume. There's a pretty good summary. There are a few indicators when you're gesturing, especially in that last section. It seemed like there was a conscious attempt when you're classifying the different kinds of lottery winners into the three categories that you're counting them out and trying to make sure that you were doing something productive with your hands there, and I appreciated that. All right, thank you.